Yo, Star! It's been a while! Hey, Nicky! Come on in!
Welcome to my animation station. Make yourself at home.
Pretty sweet place if I do say so myself. Anyways, how long has it been since we've seen each other anyway? I haven't seen you since that geography project 3 years ago. Man, that brings back memories. Sure does. I mean, sadly, I don't think anyone remembers, but it was still a fun time, wasn't it? You bet it was, even though it was kinda cringy. Yeah, so, what do you do here? I animate films for a major company now. It's definitely no easy job, but it's pretty fun. Awesome. So, why did you choose animation as your career? It's because it's something I've wanted to do for so long. I've been making stories and coming up with characters since I was young, and it's something I've been passionate about my whole life. Ah, I see. And what is it that you find so interesting about it anyway? Something about animation just fascinates me. It's the idea of creating something and expanding upon it to make your own world that has me so engaged. Bringing things to life is just so much fun. It sounds pretty cool. So, how do I, let me just ask the question. What's an animation? You really haven't changed much over the past 3 years, have you? Okay, I gotta come clean. I have a history final from the real world where we have to study the history of a certain topic. I couldn't decide, so I just picked animation, and now I can't change it back. Can you help me out? Hey, no worries, man. You've got a VIP pass. I'll give you everything I know. In order to get the full experience, we're gonna need to head into the thought bubble. Oh, gosh. And John Green has appeared out of nowhere. Hey, buddy, I hope you don't mind if we borrow your idea for just a second?
No.
No? Okay, fine, you can have it back. Now for a brief demonstration for what's possible with the world of animation. This is an animation made by the same artist who animated this entire film. Whoa, it's like moving pictures. 'Cause that's basically what it is. What happens is there are these things called frames that move by so fast that it tricks your eyes into thinking the pictures are moving, but really, there are a ton of smaller pictures. But it wasn't like they could have just come up with it like that. Are you ready to dive into the history part of this? Here we go! And so here we are in the beginning of the 1900s with the first ever animations ever. The animation you're about to watch is humorous phases of funny faces, seen to some as the birth of animation. In this film, animator J. Stuart Blackton draws two chalk drawings, one of a man and one of a woman. After a little while though, his hand disappears and, well, things start moving on their own. A couple years later in 1908, a French animator, Émile Cohl, was inspired by Stuart's work, and decided to try making one of his own. And this was the result, the first cartoon ever, Phantasmagorie. This type of hand-drawn, frame-by-frame animation would later become known as traditional animation, and would be used a lot throughout the 1900s, all the way up until the 90s. It seems like these all qualify as animations, but none of them seem to have real characters in them. They all seem to be just tests. Well, yeah, you see, that's how it was, but that's when Gertie the Dinosaur comes in. This is Gertie the Dinosaur, the first real character of animation. As you can see, her appetite is rather ravenous. Gertie is considered the first real character of animations for a few reasons. She has a name, a personality, and a gender. With this, she is a complete character. The story is an interesting one, as the animator is actually a part of this story. In this, Winsor McKay, the animator, gives Gertie commands. The animation is quite impressive for its time, and it's very smooth for such an old cartoon. My favorite scene definitely has to be this one. Wow, man, Gertie looks like a total jerk. That was quite a violent toss. If you think that was violent, we're only just getting started. Now that's a cartoon I'm sure you recognized. It's Steamboat Willie. This cartoon is incredibly famous for the creation of Mickey Mouse, and it had quite a few firsts in animation. In this film, like mentioned earlier, real violence was introduced, because the characters actually get hurt quite a bit. And violence would remain in animation for a long time. Also, this film was the first to have its own soundtrack. You know, the famous Mickey Mouse whistling tune. As you could probably tell, that film became massively popular and would get Disney off on the right foot into the world of animation. Well, yeah, just take a look at where Mickey is now. Are you sure he's not dead? I feel like a mouse can't live for nearly a whole century. Anyways, moving on. Disney's next big success would be one to make history in many ways. In the year 1929, the stock market crashed, leading into the Great Depression. However, this was somewhat good for animators. Since there wasn't a lot to do around these times, people took comfort in going to the theater. Around this time, Disney created another film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This film exploded, netting Disney an impressive $3.8 million. So what was it that made this film so great? Part of it was its timing, and the other parts were that the animation and that it had colors. What made Snow White's animation so great? Well, part of it, for dancing scenes specifically, used a technique called rotoscoping. With rotoscoping, the animators film a real person dancing and trace over those frames to give the characters and their story a more realistic movement. Even all of these years later, it still looks incredible. It seems I've forgotten another great achievement though. This is the first animated feature film. The first of God knows how many. So Disney basically opened the doors for the world of animation? Pretty much. Over the next 50 years or so, more and more animators became inspired by the works made before them. Animations like Looney Tunes, Betty Boop, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, Lady and the Tramp, and the Jetsons all started to boom after they had seen what was possible. This isn't just about America's animation, though. More countries all around the world were taking part in this. Japan in the 1960s created the first anime with their cartoon Astro Boy. In 1981, Belgian animator Pierre Colliford created the Smurfs. And in the 90s, Australia had The Adventures of Blinky Bill, a cartoon about a koala and his friends searching for fun and adventure. Animation continued to spread all over the world and had a massive impact on the entertainment industry. However, none of them were prepared for what would come next. Dude, your 2018 is showing. Oh, come on, it's a big deal! Anyways, as I was saying, CGI! CGI is what you see in most films nowadays and is the dominant form of animation. However, it wouldn't have become very popular without the help of, you guessed it, Disney. In the 90s, Disney worked with Pixar to create the first CGI feature film, which was also an enormous step forward for animation, Toy Story. Toy Story was a massive success, accumulating a whopping $373 million in the box office. This got Pixar off to a great start for the future of their company, as you could probably tell by the other successful films they've created. And so, Even in the 2000s, animation continued to grow with CGI as the dominant form. It still continues to grow today. Wow, what a mouthful. Are they still making animations today? Nicky, I feel like that should have been obvious. I'm just kidding, I knew. I was just pulling your leg. So, answer me this. Why is animation historically significant today? Well, it's basically all just been explained to you, but long story short, it has created one of the most appreciated forms of entertainment in the modern world. Animation has not only done just that, but has also helped bring many people together. A lot of people make their business on platforms like YouTube animating their own stories and bringing their own characters to life. All the people around the world who share a love for animation franchises have also been brought together by these creations, making more and more friendships possible. And all those cartoons? All the cartoons we watched as children helped us out, putting valuable life lessons into a fashion we could understand, making us greater human beings. So in the end, animation has proven to be a very valuable aspect in the history of the human race. Wow, man. Beautifully explained. Thanks. Well, the lesson is over now, but I still have one last question that I need answered before I go. Yeah, go ahead. If this is a project about animation, then why aren't we animated? Why aren't we animated? Time constraints. Nice try, Star, but today is the day we break the fourth wall, and you can't stop me. Nicky, I don't think that's a good idea. The class is gonna flip. Alright, you weird human teenager things or whatever. I've had enough. Stop stopping me!